Hello, my name is Sonia Helstad, and this is my Exercise 2 Read and Lead Assignment Submission. For my assignment, I will be evaluating the ceiling collapse failure of the Big Dig project. This is a before and after shot. To summarize this discussion with you, I am first going to start with an introduction of the project, then discuss the failure of the project, the lawsuit, the solution for the failure, and the lesson learned from the failure. As I mentioned in my title, I will be discussing the Big Dig project with you, and to introduce you to the project, the Big Dig is an underground expressway tunnel for Highway 93 under Boston, Massachusetts. The expressway spans roughly 7.8 miles with about 161 lanes in total. The infrastructure project is owned by the government and was designed by very many people. The expressway infrastructure project focused on the relocation of Interstate 93 through Boston, Massachusetts, from above ground to below ground. Originally, Interstate 93 operated above ground on what was called the Central Artery, and it was a major traffic problem. The Central Artery opened in 1954 and received praise as it was the first expressway of its kind, built above ground. Later to be known as the Green Monster, this expressway would wreak havoc on Bostonians every day. On average, traffic would be backed up for 10 hours a day, costing residents roughly $500 million each year in maintenance and in high accident rates. The Big Dig was proposed in 1981 and became open to the public completely in 2008. The initial cost estimate was $2.56 billion, but after setbacks, expanded scope, inflation, and mitigation, the project's final cost was $10.4 billion. The failure of the Big Dig is the fatal ceiling collapse of 2006. Traveling eastbound in the new expressway tunnel, a married couple of 38 and 46 years old were on their way to the airport. As they were approaching the exit of the connector tunnel, a 26-ton concrete ceiling released, crashing down onto the vehicle, crushing the right side and forcing the vehicle into the northern wall. The reason for this failure was a result of using an epoxy anchor adhesive with poor creep resistance, a formulation not capable of sustaining long-term loads. Unable to support the load over time, the epoxy deformed and fractured until the ceiling supports released, resulting in the fatal ceiling collapse. In addition to the physical cause of failure, modern continental construction and Bechtel Parsons Binkerhoff are also contributed to the accident by continuing to monitor anchor performance despite uncertainty. And the Massachusetts Turnpike Authority also contributed to the accident by failing to implement a timely tunnel inspection. The lawsuit includes a few main players. They are the Federal Highway Administration, which authorized federal funding for the Big Dig project, Massachusetts Highway Department, which proceeds, approved, and awarded all design and construction contracts. The Massachusetts Executive Office of Transportation and Construction, which is the approved expenditures of funds for the project. Bechtel Parsons Binkerhoff, which is the management consultant for the project. They served as the owner's representative for the project. Gannett Fleming Incorporated, which is the section design consultant for the Interstate 90 connector tunnel finishes. The Modern Continental Construction Company, which is the construction contractor for I-90 connector tunnel finishes. The Conum Inspection Services Incorporated, which is they were hired by Modern Continental to perform required proof testing of all adhesive ceiling support anchors. Newman Rayner Colony LLC, which is the company that supplied the adhesive anchoring system selected and used by Modern Continental and the D Street portal. The Power Fasteners Incorporated, which is the company that supplied the epoxy used for the anchors in the D Street portal, and Sika Corporation, which is the company that formulated the epoxy that was subsequently packaged and marketed by Power's Fasteners. At the end of the mitigation, it was the epoxy providers, Power Fasteners, that were charged with manslaughter and paid the city $16 million to drop the charges. So solution was to survey the remainder of anchors. They replaced what was inadequate, and they made sure to hire outside representatives to continue monitoring the anchors and the stress loads of the ceiling. Lessons learned are that this could have been completely avoidable if everyone had done their job. The turnpike itself should have scheduled more inspections. The construction companies that were doing the inspections should have understood that there was a red flag. The supplier of the epoxy should have made sure that it was the appropriate epoxy in the specifications, and as well the company that formulated the epoxy should have understood what the product was that they were presenting and giving out. So, and this is it. Based on personal experience, this could have been avoided if everyone did their job. So this was a worst case scenario. There were more than one party that failed to perform appropriately, which created the perfect storm of this unfortunate event that happened. But it is, the lesson learned is that no matter how small your job is, it is important to do your job. Thank you.